One of my students took me there, who was a surgeon, and he was in my RV because he said, you have to go see this guy. So we had on the day off, he said, I'll take you out there. And this guy could levitate objects, do all the things we've seen.
How heavy?
Lightweight objects.
Like a cup for coffee?
Yeah, cigarettes, yen notes, just things that are pretty light.
Okay.
But still, they were floating, and I saw him from a distance, probably about where that wall was, direct a cigarette into my shirt pocket on command.
Flying from the air
It
to...
flew, he was levitating on his palm, and I'm thinking, because I'm from a university training, I'm thinking maybe, is there a string? I mean, is there a magnet? What's the... Is it a magician's trick?
Yeah.
He must have read my mind, because he looked at me, and then there was like a direction, and the cigarette came across the room like a torpedo, like a missile. And as it came towards me, it made a right angle turn in the air and went into my pocket with force.
That's amazing.
You would feel it. Had some sort of tuning resonantly to these particles that we're all creating all the time, they wouldn't just be being emitted from us randomly. Now they're going to be directed, and they can probably hold up something like a yen note or a cigarette.
Actually, the ancient civilizations, they knew how to do that.
It doesn't really matter exactly why you think it's possible. There could be multiple explanations.
Yeah.
It could be a type of mass hypnosis, too, where, you've actually changed people's minds, and there's a number of ways to look at it. That you're manipulating space-time itself, and your idea that he's literally transmuting the elements, what we call nucleosynthesis, which is, by the way, what the Soviet and Russian researchers were very good at, is showing how this is possible. But it's the same fundamental principle, I think, that would explain the structure of those stones, how they were moved through resonance and sound. Because if you keep amping it up, we've been talking about this virtual dial we have, starting from remote viewing to remote influencing to PK. The next step past PK is nuclear gravitational collapse, where we literally collapse the gravitational field from electromagnetic strength. And this is more commonly known as cold fusion, low energy, nuclear reaction. And a lot of psychic phenomena get close to that point. We're talking about a space-time collapse. Literally a space-time collapse from a huge amount of electromagnetic strength. And this is known in our universe as black holes, way out there in the cosmos, right?
That sounds for me like a different kind of physics, different law of physics.
I'm going to argue here it's the same, but on a different scale.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe out there in the universe, yes, it's due to gravitational attraction, the collapse of a star. But when it happens here on Earth, you could create small black holes. Not from gravity, because it's not strong enough to do that at a small scale, from electromagnetism. And that's what the research shows from going all the way back to Nikola Tesla. You mentioned these stones at the tops of hills. This is what Tesla was experimenting with, was using resonance to have the background energy of the Earth conduct energy free of charge, just from the amount of energy that's already around through resonance. If you could really control it and perfect it, you could create levitation and what would appear to be anti-gravitational effects. Nucleosynthesis, in other words, elements would collapse and for a brief time become sort of a primordial matter and then become other elements, what has been called in the past alchemy,
Okay.
and things like this. So I know this is probably a lot of information since the last time we talked, but this is what I've been
It's a lot,
researching.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think all I'm arguing here, and no people, you don't have to agree with me, and the audience doesn't have to agree, is that there could be some commonality between all these phenomena. While they seem like separate things, remote viewing, PK, anti-gravity, ghosts,
Yeah.
and UFOs, orbs,
Mhm.
they could have all the same underlying causes. And so I would take the opposite point of view of what you said before. I'm just making this point that it's like the saying, as above, so below. Fractal.
Mhm.
The same, and this is what researchers have found out that have studied some of these areas in the area of cold fusion, low energy nuclear reaction.
Mhm.
Fleischmann and Pons at the University of Utah, in your state of Utah, in 1989, Salt Lake.
Mhm.
They all said the same sort of thing, is the same sort of processes we see happening out in space, the vortices and spinning motions of galaxies, and spiral galaxies, barred galaxies as they're called with the spiral arms, black holes, plasmas,
Mhm.
the glowing gases we see out there in stars and things, plasmas,
Okay.
which we see in fluorescent lights and things. These are probably LED, but
Mhm.
fluorescent lights are plasmas too, lightning,
Yeah.
aurora borealis. What we're saying here, from this point of view, and I'm not saying you have to agree with me, but my point of view now is that these are all variations of the same phenomena. And to put it as simply as possible, they are variations on a scale of coherency, from less coherent matter and energy to more coherent.
Which we producing or creating like this coherence.
Is created by the human mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh,
That's what I'm saying. It can be created by mind.
Yeah.
You could use a Tesla pulse discharge device. There's different ways to create coherent matter.
Yeah.
But I think, to summarize this, because I know I'm saying a lot here, and you've talked to me first saying, Simeon, what the hell are you talking about?
I love to listen to you.
You've gone off in this, no, but putting everything we've ever talked about in our previous interviews and everything I've been able to look at, it seems to me what we're talking about is creating various states of coherent matter. Incoherent matter, just as a comparison, would be what we see around here. Objects of different color, different temperature, different frequency. They look like distinct objects. They're not coherently entangled because they're different frequencies and different objects.
Yeah.
But if you keep changing the level of coherency in this matter, like Nikola Tesla would talk about sound, vibration, resonance, if you keep increasing the resonance between the particles, they'll give up their individual identity and they'll start to become the same particle, at which point they become like a big wave. And this is actually discovered here in Boulder, right down the road at National Institute of Science and Technology, NIST, at their Colorado labs. So literally just about a mile and a half from here, what we're talking about was literally discovered in 1995. It was called the Bose-Einstein condensate. You've probably heard of it. Coherent matter. They saw atoms, I forget what, rubidium or some type of atoms. They all became one big atom, undifferentiated, one quantum wave function. At which point it just becomes sort of one big particle instead of lots of little particles. And you can do it with electrons
Yeah.
and different types of particles. But what you end up with something that's temporarily undifferentiated. And once it's at this kind of quantum coherent state, you can get cloaking, invisibility, nucleosynthesis, where the particles are going to change into other types of particles in the periodic table.
Looks like metaphysics.
Yeah, no, but this is physics now. It wouldn't. This is literally real physics.
Uh-huh.
And you also can get teleportation. All these fantastic things that we've been told could happen from quantum mechanics. So this is simply what we're talking about, is variations in coherency. And at an extreme of coherency, there is no longer any distance between you and the target, which is why the viewer picks up the information, even though it seems like it's at a distance. And even at a greater distance, that actual target is somewhere else on the planet, or maybe some other place in the universe.
Yeah.
But there's no distance in terms of information. So I'm saying a lot here, but this is sort of
Yeah.
what I think a lot of this comes
Okay,
down to.
before to move from remote viewing.
That's remote viewing, yeah.
Yeah, that will be for you a small test, not test. I mean, I don't want to challenging you. Just, I mentioned before to turn on the cameras about one interesting place in my nearby my village in Bulgaria with the hill and the stones. What you can catch for that place.
Well, it seems like a very nice place to walk around. I mean, I'm seeing a hill, and I'm seeing the stones are in the soil. They seem especially interesting looking. They're colorful. They have interesting geometries, and it seems if you walk around, you could almost pull them out, show them to your friends, and say, "Look at this beautiful stone here." They're almost dispersed in the ground in sort of a very interesting way that would make it very interesting. I do see another couple hills in the area. And
Where? In Bulgaria or?
yeah,
Okay.
behind this area.
Uh-huh.
Seems to be a number of hills.
Yeah. it
Maybe
is.
some water nearby. I see something reflecting
Uh-huh.
in a distance. Right, the way I'm seeing it right now, it's sort of sunny. Some clouds in the sky, but it seems like the dirt is type of a more of a lighter brown color. And that's just what I'm getting. I could be totally wrong, but that's just, you asked
Do you
me.
think there's something underground?
Yeah, I see caves nearby. Are there caves near there?
In this hill or?
Well, in the vicinity. Could there be caves that haven't been discovered
I
yet?
haven't heard about caves.
There could be things underground there that haven't been opened up yet.
So in this stone stuff arrangements, different. Some of them they looks like a circle. Sometimes it looks like a bot. By the way, in this area happened several things unusual. A long time ago, a 14 years old boy was living just probably, in that time he lived probably 300 meters west of the stones, and he said that he has a contact with extraterrestrials. Even he been invited. And he talking about changing the space of the object inside, because he said outside is small, but because they invite him to go in, not against his will, he decided to go. Maybe curiosity, I don't know. But he said when I went in, the space was huge. And at that time when I listened that story, I said, this is some fantasy of that kid. But 5-6 years ago, because Clifford Stone was very good, my friend, we've been very close with him, he shared me a story of crash, I think in Georgia, for the small craft. And he said when he went closer to the object, to this UFO, he said that some of the small part of this object was open, so he was able to go in. And he described exactly the same, that when he been in was huge. I mean, probably 500 square meters or anyway. And same thing with that boy.
Right. And that's
So-
how people describe this.
Yeah. And then I said, holy
Baldy, as it was called outside of LA, up to the ski area, seeing a hotel, people walking around. He said, no one told me there was a hotel up here. He thought he was going to walk. He goes down, they said, no, it burned down 50 years ago.
So what came
And he went back up and it was gone.
What came with that explanation? I mean, these guys, these friends, you said they was in a bar, they took a lot of drinks, maybe they became drunk.
They were a little bit drunk, yeah.
Okay, but at the same time,
There's no bar in that town.
right?
That town
How
was-
that happened? How they escape from this reality or parallel reality going to the other, and how that happened? How they get drunk, even if that restaurant is closed, been closed for years.
It's just that space-time is more malleable than we think.
Okay.
It's more malleable, it's more like putty. And again, I think this goes back to special relativity theory from Einstein, who said that, you're going to get these transformations in space and time as you go faster towards the speed of light. It's some variation of that. And I think you get that variation because we don't really understand how this all works yet. It can break down. And imagine where each of us is, there's this thick rope, and that's your timeline. And you're on this rope, and it's pretty thick. It holds together. Your life goes from day to day, night to day to day. It's going along this rope. But let's say that rope is thinner at some point, or something is chopped away at a little section of that rope.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the other ropes around with other different timelines on them are now going to come into your space of your rope. Because they're all kind of next to each other. And you're going to switch onto that other rope. And for a period of time, you're going to be in that timeline till your rope pulls you back to your life as you know it here. And there are cases of people disappearing for several months and then waking up in another part of the world.
Actually, somebody told me last night, maybe that lady, she said somebody disappeared, they cannot find him for a long time now, and they don't know where is it. She said maybe he was taken.
Well, there could be other explanations. I'm not discounting the idea that
they're
they're
not lost in the nature or something
no.
like that.
No, so I think we have to consider the possibility that there are beings out there, life forms.
With us
Yes,
at the same time.
yes, and they can navigate these ropes of parallel realities in a way that you and I can't. We're in kindergarten, Ivan.
Can we exist in...
They can move between them and they can take us into their reality.
Can we exist in different parallel realities?
I think we do. I think there are variations of us in these parallel realities. And this is exactly what Hugh Everett III proposed in his doctoral dissertation at Princeton. Under John Archibald Wheeler, a physicist who's in physics has an iconic status, having trained many of the great physicists in the US. One of his students was Hugh Everett III, and he proposed exactly what you just said. Parallel realities, and there's different versions of you in those parallel realities. Hugh did not believe that they communicate.
We're not identical, or what do you mean?
Very similar, very similar.
Let me tell you a very short story with me when I was 20 years old. I'm 57 now, just 4 weeks ago I turned 57. I was 21 in Bulgaria, and I walk in the street and nobody in the street, just probably people sleeping that time or they're working, so the street is not busy. And I'm walking, and I saw myself in this side, and the opposite side, and the other. So here's the street for the cars, and we have a pedestrian path for walking. That makes sense? So I was here, and me or he was right here and walking in that way. And when I saw him or me, he was exactly like me. The same haircut, the same jacket, the same color, the same pants. And he's walking exactly like I'm walking. And I was shocked. I said, what's going on? Is that my twin brother? I don't know to have twin brother. But even if he's twin, why he has the same clothes like me? Even the same colors. The brown jacket, jeans, shoes, the same haircut. What was that?
It's a parallel version of you.
So how many? So
it just popped into your reality, or you popped into his.
He haven't seen me.
You never saw him.
Just I saw. Sorry.
But you're saying this was a friend?
No, I said
it looked just like you.
he looks exactly like
Well,
me.
it's a double. It's your double. But no, I would say, so Hugh Everett believed that there are identical versions of us in parallel realities. He didn't believe they were literally parallel, so they don't interact. Parallel, that's the formal theory. But there are variations on this that suggest that they do, and it's called many interacting worlds model, new, proposed by physicists in the past few years, about 5-10 years ago, recent. They are saying it's highly likely that we're interacting with parallel realities for the reasons I've been describing here.
Yeah.
And if you model it, it reproduces physics the way we know it right now, quantum mechanics. Yeah, you don't even need a quantum wave function anymore. From parallel realities, just interacting with, just pushing against each other, just like the Pauli exclusion principle. Now, sometimes they push enough, they come into our reality, or we go into theirs, and that's what I think some of these time slips could be.
In how many realities we exist?
Infinite.
So, if I die in this reality,
You'll pop up in another one.
I mean, I already exist in another.
You already do. You already do. You already do.
With the same consciousness.
Yes. You'll know this was you, and you'll remember us having this conversation. It's you. It's you. Here's the way to look at it. You know, you look at a tree, and there are a lot of branches on the tree, but they all go back to the same trunk.
Yeah.
And on the branches, there's a lot of leaves. They all go back to the same branch.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's, each of us is like the leaf on the branch. And then the branch goes back to the trunk.
Yeah.
And then the trunk goes back to the roots. And as we know now from biology in the past few years, the roots are all communicating through fungus and things like this. So,
that looks like Zen Buddhism.
yeah, no, I think it's a big fractal. I literally think this is how it works. I am not talking metaphysics, or I think it has to work this way. Why? Because of what the experiences you and I just talked about. There's another time slip I remember. I was talking to a radio host, and we were talking about this, and he said it happened to me. A friend of mine, we went to Germany just for a vacation. All of a sudden, we're in this town, and everything turns black and white. And then
No colors.
no colors, and all of a sudden, a whole entourage of Nazi cars pulls up, and out steps Hitler
Wow.
with SS guards and everything. And they look at us, but they just like look right through us. They don't care, and they go on.
Probably they haven't seen him.
Yeah, they didn't see him, or they didn't care. They might have, you know. And Hitler and his entourage go off into some building, and all of a sudden they're back to normal. I said, did you ever do any research whether Hitler visited that town? And he said they did, and he had. So that is where it looked black and white, you know, and it's the same time slip experience. It's like these realities, Yvonne, are all happening at the same time. They're all happening simultaneously. It's our conscious.
It is, yeah.
Our conscious mind likes the linear idea, and don't scare anybody. I'm not trying to. If linear time is appealing to you, it's appealing to me in some ways. I enjoy songs and music and food. That's a linear experience. You know, you start with the salad, you go to the main course, and then you end up with dessert. And I kind of enjoy that. And I'm a guitarist. I love the progression of songs. So linear time is cool for me if you enjoy playing with it. But I don't think that's actually the end story. I think there's more going on. So all of these phenomena, Yvonne, remote viewing, crop circles, UFO experience, haunted sites, all have time slips.
Haunted is very scary.
It can be. It can be. I've been at some of these sites, and I've talked to the witnesses there, and they've gotten used to it. They literally see people walk through the walls, and not just them, their pets. The pets see them too. They said one case.
Like the shadows or the.
Yeah, like a shadowy figure, like a person, but a shadowy thing walking through the wall, and the cat's like looking right at it, and you're seeing it too. And it's where the. Again, if you think about all these ropes pushing up, let's say the boundary between them is a little thinner, and they're pushing and they start to merge. This is what's going on. I think one day, what all of this we're talking about, it'll be understood as a type of physics. But right now, we've had these terms paranormal, supernatural. It's like baggage. It's like a verbal baggage from
In the beginning.
From superstition.
Way in the beginning.
We didn't understand this, but I think we have all this data from remote viewing. This is how our interview started today. Going back to the 1970s and before. And we've gathered all this data for decades. Now, a lot of people want to debate, is it real? Is the data real? To me, it's real. I've read enough. I know it's real. The next step is why. And I think it has a lot to do with the structure of space-time, what can modify that, what can make time not so linear and more loopy, and you have these experiences where you go into restaurants that didn't exist. I've heard people describe this as if they were going back 100 years. The hotel was lit with gas. Here they are in the 1980s, and the hotel's lit by gas, charges $5 a night. They said the whole thing looked weird. It didn't seem right. When they went back a day later, said, what was that? It wasn't there. And I've heard, every time I tell this story to any radio interviewer, they do what you did. You said, I had experience like that too. Or I had a friend who had experiences. Yeah. I was talking about this the other day, and the radio host said, I know someone who had that experience driving, snowstorm, the car slips off the road, people help them, they go back, they want to give a present to the people that helped them. There's no houses there, there's nothing.
Right.
It doesn't exist. They know they saw the same road strike, they know where they were, but there's no one there, there's no house. It's just more malleable than we would think. And
yeah.
Do you want to tell me about your crystals? What is this? Why did you bring this out of your pocket?
Because
I was talking too much, sorry.
I want to show you.
Show me what you got.
But before that, I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
What about that happened with me? I love watching movies when I have time.
It happened too, please.
I'm watching a completely new movie. And suddenly, I knew what's going to happen the next minute and what they're going to say. What's that? This is the movie.
Precognition.
First time I'm watching that movie. I never watched that movie before, I swear. And I knew what they're going to say and exactly the words exactly. Before to say, I'm saying it verbally. And I know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes, for example.
Precognition, because it's already happening now.
But that is a movie.
In another parallel reality, you already finished the movie.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. What about another situation? When I'm not doing my security work and driving Lyft in Salt Lake, one day I pick up one passenger. He sits next to me in the front seat, and we're talking about the life, listening music from the radio, and I'm waiting for green light to go straight. In that time, suddenly, from back seats of my car, I heard two people laughing. And I thought that maybe something is wrong with me. But the passenger says, "Who is laughing in your car?" And I said, there's nobody in the back seats. He said, "This is weird." I had confirmation. I not was alone hearing laughing in my car. And the same week, by the way, same week, different day, happened the same thing. But I was alone in that time in the car. Before that, I talked with a very good friend who made this from Utah. And I said, "Who is laughing in my car?" And he said, "Next time when somebody is laughing or try to do something in interaction, just start talking with." And I said, the second time when it happened, I said, "Who are you? I know that you see me, I haven't seen you." And never I had this encounter anymore. What was that?
Personally, I think there are types of life and beings and entities that can move between timelines.
Okay.
You and I feel like we're fixed. We're taught this from the moment we're very young. It's just a fixture, and this is your life, this is my life, just get used to it. Not much you can do about it.
Okay.
I think it's more flexible than that. And I think the RV experiences, which we've had in this room, show that it's more malleable than that you can navigate. And maybe there are beings, in this book, my most recent book, Dark Matter Monsters, I argue that what we call Bigfoot and cryptids and strange creatures are literally types of life that learn how to navigate timelines.
Okay,
It may seem very strange to our minds, but I think this is what the reality is. And the evidence for that is when these creatures show up, people's cars stall. If it's just an escaped gorilla or a rare mammal, I've never had my car stall around any ordinary animals. So it's something about the electromagnetic spectrum which is changing.
So I had the experience like this.
Please tell me.
No, I said probably I had that experience.
Oh yes. No, I think that's...
When I heard with my ears that somebody's laughing.
Yeah, there's some other parallel reality with that, your own personal experience over what you've been told. That's ours, and together we'll all figure out what's going on here. Because it's just, even in this interview, Ivan, just talking, it brought up experiences you've had that confirmed experiences I've had. You see how when we have a conversation about this, it helps to bring it together. So believe in your experiences and talk to your friends. I started a Bigfoot cryptid Zoom group just to bring people together. Anyone's welcome to join. Just so we could talk among experiences of Bigfoot, people from this area. If we could compare notes and start, and we're making progress.
Right.
We're making progress. So I think believing your own experience over what you've been told is real, because I think what we've been told by, it's not our fault of our parents or anything, but authority figures in school was a sort of a story. It was sort of a kind of a ordinary story. It's not the way it really works. It's more like what we've been talking about tonight. And don't be afraid of it. It's just something to explore and get to know what sort of universe, multiverse do we really live in. I don't totally know, folks, but I think we need to find out. I think we need to find out.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to talk with you.